The concept of an anti-pope is one of the most intriguing and complex elements in the history of the Catholic Church. An anti-pope is someone who claims or is proclaimed to be the pope in opposition to the legitimate pope, often during periods of division or conflict within the Church. Throughout history, political and religious disputes have led to the emergence of multiple claimants to the papacy, resulting in schisms that have challenged the authority and unity of the Church. While the Catholic Church recognizes only one legitimate pope at a time, multiple claimants to the papacy have existed during periods of disarray, particularly when powerful factions within the Church or external political forces have sought to gain control over its leadership. Antipopes are seen as schismatic figures, those who break away from the unity of the Church, often acting under the influence of political and ideological interests. Importantly, despite their claims to the papacy, antipopes are never recognized by the Church as valid successors of St. Peter, and their actions and papacies are considered illegitimate. The phenomenon of antipopes has historically been tied to the political and religious turbulence within the Church and broader society. The papacy has long held both spiritual and temporal power, making the position of pope highly coveted by those who seek to influence both religious and secular matters. It is not surprising, then, that political factions and rival interests, both within the Church and among powerful monarchs, have often sought to manipulate papal elections, leading to the rise of anti-popes. One of the most significant and extended periods of anti-popes in Church history occurred during the Western Schism. The schism began after the death of Pope Gregory XI, who had returned the papacy to Rome from Avignon. Following his death, a split occurred in the papal election. Urban VI was elected pope in Rome, but his controversial behavior and abrasive personality led a group of French cardinals to declare his election invalid, claiming that they had been coerced. In response, these cardinals elected a rival pope, Clement VII, who established his papacy in the city of Avignon. This division between Rome and Avignon created a situation where two, and later three men, claimed to be the true pope, each supported by different factions within the Church and secular authorities. Urban VI, as the pope in Rome, was supported by northern Italy and England, while Clement VII, based in Avignon, received the backing of France, Castile, and Scotland. Over the course of several decades, the schism expanded, with further anti-popes being elected by either faction in attempts to bolster their claims. The result was a complex and contentious period in Church history, with rival papacies and competing authority figures, each asserting their own legitimacy. The schism persisted for decades until the Council of Pisa in 1409 attempted to resolve it by deposing both rival popes and electing Alexander V. Instead, this created a third claimant. To end the crisis, Emperor Sigismund convened the Council of Constance, which deposed the anti-pope John XXIII, rejected Benedict XIII, and secured Gregory XII's resignation. In 1417, Martin V was elected as the sole pope, restoring unity to the Church. The resolution reaffirmed papal authority and ended one of the most divisive crises in Church history. The emergence of anti-popes has had significant and lasting effects on the Catholic Church, both theologically and politically. One of the most profound consequences of the Western Schism was the undermining of the papacy's authority and unity. The Catholic Church is traditionally understood to be united under the leadership of one pope, and the division caused by competing claimants to the papacy caused widespread confusion and diminished the Church's influence in the political and spiritual realms. This crisis had long-term repercussions, as exactly 100 years after the schism ended, the Protestant Reformation began in 1517, further challenging the Church's authority and leading to one of the most significant religious upheavals in history. While I have focused on the Western Schism, anti-popes have appeared throughout Church history, dating back to the early centuries of Christianity. Disputes over papal succession, political interference, and theological conflicts led to rival claimants challenging the legitimate pope. From the 3rd century rivalry between Pope Cornelius and Novatian to conflicts during the early Middle Ages, anti-popes were a recurring feature of Church history, often reflecting broader struggles within Christendom. In the modern era, the rise of anti-popes has become exceedingly rare. The papal election process has become more regulated and institutionalized, with the College of Cardinals responsible for electing the Pope in a manner that is less susceptible to political manipulation. Today, the authority of the Pope is largely uncontested, and the possibility of a competing papacy is unlikely. Modern Catholicism has become more centralized, and the Church has worked to maintain its unity in both spiritual and political matters. However, the history of anti-popes highlights the complexities of papal authority and the intersection of religion and politics. It demonstrates the importance of unity and the enduring strength of the Church in overcoming such challenges. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out my other content on theology and Christian history. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments.